Yesterday I did my first YouTube video, documenting my CCSVI treatment, which I had December 1st. Right now it is December 9th, and tomorrow is my first neurologist appointment since my CCSVI treatment. And I wanted to get as much information on YouTube before I talk to my neurologist and find out I don't know what I'm talking about. So anyway, yesterday I talked about the blocking of your veins, causing it to stagnate, and the waste of the blood that is leaving the brain, the tired blood, which is high in iron, and iron's a poison and everything else, but that's actually a natural part of the red blood cells. And Dr. Zamboni is getting all kinds of slack on, or they're making it as hard as possible. I don't know why. It's obvious to me, having had it now. Before it was made perfect sense, and now that I have had a CCSVI treatment and had my azygos stented, and both of my jugulars were ballooned out, and seemed to be holding fine. I don't know. I can look at it from a different perspective. CCSVI is the logical course in correcting some of the symptoms created by the long-term venous insufficiency. All of that blood that is supposed to be leaving your brain and going down and being filtered to be reused is just sitting there stagnating, and your brain's just wallowing in a big old bowl full of old blood that has no oxygen in it. And that's the reason for my name. It is an inverted stroke. The problem is with the stroke, it cuts off your artery, and then wow, major stuff happens. But with this type of multiple sclerosis, it cuts off your veins, so therefore it's still receiving all the blood through the arteries, but it has no place to go. And what it does is it'll go in and it'll hit the blockage and create resistance, and every time it's adding blood to it, oxygenated blood coming in, it'll reflux back into the brain, washing all that waste product back on top of your brain. And that, in part, I think, is the cause of probably most of multiple sclerosis. There could possibly be an infection or something else, but I think, in my opinion, I'm not a doctor, but my opinion is a huge portion of people suffering from multiple sclerosis and diagnosed with multiple sclerosis have blocked veins, and that the cause would be, okay, well, blocked veins. Well, no. How did veins get blocked? Are they blocked because of, the way your body is, or you squishing it, or whatever? Or the valves? Something I didn't know is your veins actually have valves in them. They're literal valves that you can go in with a camera and see how they work. Some of the valves can be inverted or malfunctioning, or just the control of those valves. And I think a lot of the control of the valves is controlled by emotions. So I'm thinking that maybe multiple sclerosis is an emotional disease. My biggest attacks that I have had were all around very traumatic life experiences, things that were very important to me and that I dwelled on, and that possibly caused some of my reflux at that time. However, that was probably 20 years ago. And just now thinking of it and putting it all in perspective, having had having had the ccsvi treatment, I can look at it from a different light. And one thing that I think about is I take Tisabri. I've had my angioplasty, but December 1st is December 9th, or February 9th. And I am still taking Tisabri. I go in once a month for an infusion. Infusion is they put you in a chair and plug you in and pump a large quantity of medicine into your veins. The thing of interest to me is you're being infused with the whether it be just a hydrating liquid or the medicine. Something's going into your veins. On the infusion, the machine that pumps it into your blood will actually have like a resistance. It'll be able to tell how much resistance. And you could do things to change that resistance. So I'm probably not supposed to, but we're sitting there getting pumped full of stuff for an hour. You get kind of bored, so you look at the little meter on the infusion equipment and start flexing your muscles and thinking of stuff and get yourself mad, or do little experiments for my own interests, and it makes a huge difference. You can when you're scared, when you're angry, when you're tense, when you're exhausted, all of that makes a difference on how the infusion the medicine goes into your body. So my question is, if that's true, then wouldn't the same be true naturally? Just a person walking around and suddenly gets pissed off or cheated on or whatever, and get your body working in that way, and actually inadvertently blocking the flow yourself out of your brain, shutting off your valves, not intending to. Well, I'm thinking that that's probably the cause. One of the causes of multiple sclerosis is emotions. Now, obviously, there are many, or can be possibly many different causes, but I think it's time we look back at emotions again. I do think that there's something with emotions, that being able to control your own body, the way you perceive any event can be interpreted differently by different people. In other words, something that may be no big deal to you may just scare the out of somebody. You know, it's just, maybe we're screwed up that way. Maybe we dwell too much on certain things. I remember, this is years and years ago, a major attack that I had. I was probably about 19 years old. I'm 44 years old now. I was probably 19 or 20. No, I was probably about 22. 22 years old. I had a first love, if you will, a girlfriend that, I mean, it wasn't like we were engaged or anything, but I was in love. I honestly was in love. And she went and reinitiated relations with her boyfriend when she went back to Pennsylvania. And to me, that was okay. Sorry, that's your choice. And I mean, from my perspective, it was over. But my mind, I dwelled on it for months after that. Why? Why? Why would somebody do that? That just doesn't make sense. And during that time, I felt the exasperation, attacks like I came familiar with as an MS attack. Now I'm familiar with. And so was I doing that to myself? Did I shut my own veins down and cause the reflux or whatever? Another thing, the stenosis may be caused by or aided by the own body's inability to put things aside, quit dwelling on it. And maybe that's, emotions definitely need to be looked at again. I think that's a possible avenue. It's been a possible avenue been brought up by many doctors in the past and not really researched, but I'm thinking that maybe a psychologist, not no Dr. Freud crack, but I mean psychologist, just to help a person understand what is happening in one's own body, I think would be most beneficial. I don't think there's such a doctor out there. I think every doctor now just wants to fill you full of drugs so they can get their kickback from the pharmaceuticals. But and maybe that right there, maybe I'm a naysayer. Maybe I'm used to being forgone or just. But anyway, those are the kinds of things that I mentioned in my first videos that I think that we need to start thinking of and looking at. CcsviI is a cure for the symptoms created by what? We don't know. And help relieve the blockages or restrictions of the blood freely flowing through the brain, nourishing the brain, reoxygenating it. And there is definitely more to this story, but if you get as far as I am, definitely it's 100% worthwhile researching the CcsviI treatment. I don't think it's a cure. I do think that a person still holds on to that whatever initially put them in the state they're in. What we need to do to correct it permanently, I don't know. I'm starting to think it's maybe emotions. Could be other things. Could be, well, there's a lot of could be's. But those are the kinds of things I would love to hear different views on what people are thinking and the logic behind it. Because let's face it, we need to fix ourselves. We're not getting much help from the doctors. They're too busy about how much they can charge $9.50 for a Tylenol every time I go in to get my infusion. No, I don't do drugs. Just whatever. But this is a money thing, and unfortunately, we're the ones that are paying for their little game. And I think we need to start thinking out of the box and I was on the